This is tutorial 3-1 in GIS tutorial workbook 3. In this tutorial, we're going to be adding data into a geodatabase that we created in chapter 2. Now, the file that we're going to be getting our data from is called parcel sources. And what they want us to do is they want us to open up the attribute table and look at the fields. So we're going to go to data. We're going to right click on parcel source. We're going to go to properties. And if you go down, you can see some of them match up. We have a plat status, user code, street name, some other things that kind of match what we did with our table. And if we open up our attribute table, which we can go down here and preview, see we have user code. They're using the same codes we did, so that's good. Okay. Now we can close that. They want you to go through and try to match up which field matches with the other one. We're just going to skip that part. So we're going to be working in our land records geodatabase. Before we do anything, I'm going to create a backup in case anything goes wrong. Now this is a very good idea to do when working on a project, especially adding data, because sometimes it's difficult getting rid of data that you entered incorrectly without damaging data that you entered correctly. So it's always good to have these backups. So I'm just going to right click on my answers, go to new, and I'm going to put a new folder called backup. And this way, if I mess up, I don't have to go all the way back to chapter 2 and recreate it. So I'm just going to copy this geodatabase, right click on backup, and paste. Now if I click on that, we have our land records geodatabase in there as well. So we're going to open up this geodatabase and open up our property data set, and we're going to right click on parcels, and we're going to go to load and load data. Now I don't know if this is a feature of 10.1 or 10. The book doesn't mention this screen popping up, but it does for me, so I'm just going to click next. It's just telling you what this program does. This is where the book starts telling you what to do. We're going to browse to our parcel sources. So we're going to click on the browse button. You're going to go to your data folder in GIS-T3 and click on parcel source. Now, people will probably ask, like, why don't they just use the parcel source shapefile for what we want? Well, it has fields that we don't need, and in reality, not all the parcels are going to be in one shapefile. They'll normally break it up to a group of people, and each people will do like a district within the city, or even a few blocks. And then this way you'd be able to add all of those into one single feature class. So once that's selected, you just click add. And if there were 3 of them, which I think this tutorial actually should have done, have multiple parcel source, just to give you a reason to create a new feature class rather than just try to edit this parcel source into what we want it to be. So then we're going to click next. And in here, you can see that this is grayed out. If I had used the toolbox to try to open up the simple data loader, I would have to browse to the geodatabase and the feature class that I wanted to add data to. But seeing that I right-clicked on it, it just fills that in for me because it knows exactly where I want this loaded. Now, if you remember when we did parcels, we broke it up into 3 subtypes: platted property, unplatted property, and plat pending. And that's how we want to load this data. If you remember when we were looking at the parcel source, we did have a field for plat status. So we're going to start with platted property, and then we're just going to click next. And here we start we have to choose what fields belong to the fields in parcel source. Now this is the feature class we created. This is parcels, and this is parcel source. Now, as you can see, some of them are already filled in. That's because the data type and the names are very similar or exact. This might not be true, so it's always good to check these and make sure that they're actually the ones you want. Now for subname, they want us to change that to prop des1. And then they want us to go down and fill in the rest according to the picture in the book. So pre-type does not have any. Pre-direction is going to be prefix. House number is add number. And as you can see, the data source or type for some of these are different. This is an integer, this is a string. So street name is going to be st name. And this one is this one. There's none for zip code. Username or use code has been already selected. Georeference is georeference, and street type is suffix. Once you do that, you just click next. And this is seeing that we're using a subtype, we're going to be using a query because we have to choose what that subtype is. So you go to Query Builder, you go down, and you do plat status. And seeing that we're doing the platted property, that had a code of 1. Then we just go to next. It gives us a summary of what we're doing, and we click on finish. Now I'm going to go to preview a little before they tell you to, and this is what it did. It gave us all these properties. These are all the platted properties. So we're going to right click, and I'm going to go to load data. And we're going to do the same thing 2 more times except for plat status 2 and plat status 3. So I'm going to just try to go a little bit faster in this one. And here, all you do is click on this drop box, change it to unplatted. This is the only part that is a little bit where it slows you down. I wish there was a way of, if you're working with the same feature, to have it autofill these, but from the previous session, but it doesn't. And we're going to use our query builder once again. And we finish. As you can see, it added some more properties. And you can see that they're a different color. That's because we used subtypes. If we didn't, they would all be the same color. And that's why we're doing that subtype with the query builder and everything. And we just choose plat pending. And even though I've done this a number of times, I still cannot remember which one goes to which. That's why it's important to have these things next to you when you're filling this out. And you have to make sure those match for all the subtypes. If you go in and you mix one up, it could probably cause some errors. I haven't done it yet, but I'm pretty sure that would do something. Now we're going to add 3. Okay, next, and there. If you click on lot boundaries and parcels, it'll do another color scheme. This one's a little bit better than the last, not as close to the colors. So these purple ones are platted. These greenish ones are unplatted. And these beige ones, or tan, whatever it is, are the plat pending. They could be new places. I'm not sure. So what we're going to do now is we can zoom in if we want. And get a closer look at some of the smaller parcels. And then we can look at the table and see how it filled in. Just going to shrink some of these. As you can see, prefix has a lot of nulls. That's because we didn't assign a field to it. We might have another table we're going to be doing that with later on. I'm not sure. We have some streets. But if you come over here, remember in the last, when we looked at parcel source, we had codes. Here, because we went in and we gave a name, an alias to all those codes, here actually is shown, so anyone that looks at this has such a better idea of what they're actually looking at, especially if this is going to another agency or to the public. Plat status here is no longer a code, but actually written out, which could be useful if people know what that means. And then the rest is obviously address stuff. So they're going to have us do the same thing now to lot boundaries, but it's going to be a lot more simple. I'm just going to go back to geographic. And as you can see, it changed the colors every time you lose it. I'm not sure how to change the colors. Let's see. Maybe if I go into properties. No, it won't let me change it in here. But yeah, if you just keep switching on and off, it'll randomly change the colors to where you can get some that contrast a little bit better. So we're going to right click on lot boundaries. We're going to go to load, and we're going to load our data. We're going to go to next, and we're going to go back to our data folder, and it's this parcel line source. And once again, this probably would have been broken up into multiple shape files, but they just put it in one. Probably to save space on the disk. Then we go to next. We cannot choose a subtype for this one because there aren't any. And right here, it already matched up our line code, so we don't have to do anything in there. And because we don't have a subtype, we don't really have to do an attribute definition query, and there's nothing we really want to exclude, so we're just going to leave this as is. Gives us our summary, and we finish. And it gives us our lot boundaries. Now if we go to the table, we have our line codes. I forgot what the line codes mean, and here we have a few that are 9. Going to right click and go to ascending. We have 1, 2, 37, and 9. Now those might be errors because, and they might have us look at those later on in another tutorial. Because if you remember when we did our line code, we had 1, 2, and 3. So that might have just been a typo, or I don't know. So let's go to data, parcel line source. And if you go through here, you can see this is where the 9s, there are no 3s. So it's not something that happened because of the data transfer. It was just done because those were the line codes used in here. Now you can throw these onto ArcMap if you want, but otherwise we're done with this tutorial. And that's it.